So, my dear friends, let's start with the on-chains. At this moment, we see the percent supply in profit on the screen. The amount has dropped sharply. Supply and profit, as you can see here on the chart. In profit, I apologize. We see that the $100,000 level is crucial when it comes to investment profitability. Many investors, and why many? Because, in my opinion, the largest number of investors who are currently holding Bitcoin are short-term investors, meaning those who entered at around $100,000 or above, where Bitcoin became more accessible to people, where it became more mainstream, you could say, and it was buzzing in the media. So at this moment, that $100,000 level could be a strong psychological barrier for a significant breakout, because it's not just about staying there, 1,000, 2,000, above 100,000, just the actual desire. Running at $112,000 to $116,000, where I also have my take profit set right around $116,000. My dear friends, I personally will completely sell off the remaining 30% of my long-term Bitcoin holdings. At this moment, you see the realized loss, and what's very interesting is at $101,000, my dear friends. So here, at this peak, we saw the largest increase in realized loss positions. Since entering the current consolidation, and this happened not during the drop we experienced, but after that drop, on the rise, which suggests that we've pulled out a massive amount of delayed shorts, meaning you could say that there are so many people, actually retail investors, who entered above $100,000, whether on spot or in long positions on the futures market, that they just want, in quotes, to get out without a loss because Bitcoin looks quite weak. So, in my opinion, around $100,000 and above, we could see immediate drops, meaning an immediate reaction that might not cause huge declines. However, we will get a reaction because the retail crowd will want to escape from Bitcoin and try to buy it simply, much lower. This situation will persist until all the retail investors in this area who are significantly in the red or just in the red simply sell off. And now on the chart we have the net position change of stablecoins. However, we are seeing, here it's quite clear, an influx of stablecoins into the market, which suggests a potential buyback. So here's a chart that shows us a slightly different perspective from the previous two, because these stablecoins are starting to flow in. As you saw here, at the moment of those peaks, we actually had a slightly lagged increase on Bitcoin. A similar situation happened here, so the question is whether this influx of Bitcoin will lead to further increases, or is it just some kind of pump and dump? In my opinion, remember, once again, I'll repeat this, I don't want to be greedy. Actually, I'm not greedy. I don't want to wait for God. I know what level on Bitcoin I will sell at and realize my last profits, because the first ones I bought were at around $80,000. I think it was $88,000 or something like that, or $84,000. Fought. Next around $101, and now I still have 30% of my Bitcoins left to realize around 116s because I don't want to wait. I know it could even go up to $120, $130, but that won't change much for me, and I'll realize my profits and then I can sleep peacefully. And here at this moment we have the capital rotation net position change. Stablecoins are not used. For now though, because we have no inflow of money into Ethereum or Bitcoin, so stablecoins from the previous chart are indeed flowing in, but for now they are practically not being utilized at all. And from these two assets we have outflows, while the amount of stablecoins is strictly increasing, which could suggest that investors are simply fleeing to stablecoins out of fear of a bear market, something we're hearing about more and more. So, to look at the topic from both sides, the influx of stablecoins. In the previous chart, it doesn't necessarily suggest that we're about to see increases. This could suggest that investors are fleeing from Bitcoin, from Ethereum, and generally from altcoins to USDT, waiting for a better time to potentially buy. So you could say that we could also put forth a thesis here. The thesis that, in fact, through this influx of stablecoins, we won't see increases, but rather a mini crypto winter, or possibly small declines, because people will be leaving and have already decided, I don't want to hold anymore. I'm out, I'll just buy back later. Lower, and then I'll make some profit there, or at least recover my losses. Moreover, if we look at Bitcoin ETFs, they recorded inflows, but these are the smallest since the first week of the new year, so for now, ETFs are not performing well with Bitcoin. And interestingly, listen, Ethereum ETFs recorded the largest inflows in 2 months. It's possible that people are now getting into Ethereum due to the news about buybacks. ETH, through the whole Trump family. And generally speaking, all this hype that's being created in the government about Ethereum. By the way, we'll move on to the most important charts in a moment. And I'll show you everything in detail. Well, listen up, a very strong week. Get ready for the cryptocurrency market to rock this week. So this could be an interesting opportunity to lock in some good trades as we have core CPI, monthly yearly Fed on Wednesday. Of course, there will be some testimonies from Powell, core PPI, unemployment claims, retail sales. These are very important events that could indirectly affect the cryptocurrency market and directly impact the traditional market. So pay attention because the beginning of the week might even be pricing in these events that will happen around the middle of the week, meaning Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. By the way, today at the opening of the American markets, I'm really curious to see how they react to these crazy daily candles. Well, which look quite interesting. Also there, if we look out of curiosity, because this indicator is also manipulated in quite different ways, the Fear and Greed Index. At the moment, it's at 43 points, which is almost neutral. So, my friends, we have no choice but to move on to the charts now. Check out the total 3, Bitcoin's dominance, Ethereum, done, and think about our plans. How would it be wise to navigate the chart right now so we don't end up in places we don't want to be and then have to sell at a loss? And my friends, let's start with the Bitcoin dominance chart. A very interesting situation. Bitcoin's dominance is clearly growing. We don't really see it reflected strongly on the charts that Bitcoin is actually increasing. However, for me, the key level will be 70%, where it could potentially peak in dominance, a peak in Bitcoin's growth. So we need to pay attention to that. We reacted beautifully to the golden pocket, which was a key supply area on the chart. So, the most important thing for Bitcoin is that we don't see any huge drops. We need to maintain at least 57% dominance. However, it won't be great for altcoins because just look at how the total 3 looks right now, which is the market cap of altcoins, excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. For now, it's average, but safe, as long as we stay above $830 billion. This is a place that could be said to be. It would protect us from total drops in altcoins, where it's clear that some of these altcoins are really struggling. And here I'm afraid that if we see a strong drop, which I'll tell you about shortly, some altcoins might just disappear off the face of the earth. However, some of them have a solid bottom. They might not be performing the best, like Sonic, but there's no need to worry. In my opinion, I'm still holding on to my bags. However, if Bitcoin actually reaches $116,000, I will slowly start selling off those altcoins. And I'll tell you more. Even if when I saw Bitcoin reach $116,000 strictly, I would wonder whether to sell 50% of my holdings strictly on altcoins, because this portfolio will be on several XS anyway. So, I prefer to protect yourself against potential drops. This market is very volatile at the moment, quite dangerous. Looking at Bitcoin, actually reflecting on yesterday's live stream we did on Patreon. On Discord, I mentioned that we have amazing doji candles one after another. 1, 2, 3, 4 indecisive candles. And usually historically on Bitcoin, listen, when you look at these candlestick formations that we're collecting, let's say these orders, we usually saw a pump after them. Are we seeing a pump now? It's still hard to say. We really have the beginning of the week, so you could say a 2.5% move isn't exactly small. However, for us to see the charts positively, and to set ourselves up for a continuation of this so-called pump, we would need to break at least $102.5 thousand, which is the ultimate supply zone for those short-term holders, the retail investors who bought at the so-called peaks. So, my friends, the plan for Bitcoin is quite simple from my perspective. If we get back to testing the liquidity around $102.5 thousand, I personally will be looking to take a small short position on Bitcoin. Let it go. Of course, it depends on how the price action will look, how everything will come together with the volume, because here, volume is also a key element for us. For now, we have a bit of a push without that volume, but time will tell what the situation of entering at 102.5 thousand will look like. If we don't have volume here, it will be empty gains, you could say. That would be additional confirmation for me that taking a short might be a good solution. Even if we take a look out of curiosity at the volume profile, we can see that even a pullback to 104 could happen, which is the point of control. However, I won't wait for such high levels here. I will set very tight stop losses. Why tight? Because if we break through this zone, I don't want to wait for the next one. Then I'll prefer to take a small loss on the chest and try again. Around 105,000, because this is our last, let's say, technical bastion for simple, let's say, trading. Later, I will watch for a possible decrease in momentum and some sales on So, my friends, we definitely need to be careful about that. However, if we were to see things go the other way because we need to be ready for two moves, we talked quite a bit about this on Discord over the weekend. I also had a good chat with Deep about what might happen, and listen, this whole zone between $91 and $88,000 is obviously a very strong demand zone, so the price should hold there. However, if there is the strength, if there's stronger volume and you, as beginners, see a drop below 88,500 with closing candles, preferably with volume, then here. This, buy side, and here. This sell side inefficiency, meaning this volume gap, could cause an impulsive, quick, strong drop even, down to $72,000, $74,000. My friends, this scenario is not a guaranteed one. It's one of two scenarios you need to be prepared for. Personally, I have a lot of buy orders in this zone that I intend to fill. In my opinion, if we get to these altcoin price levels, some will get hit really hard, especially those that are currently breaking their all-time lows. However, the altcoins that we know and like, but aren't performing too well, like Sonic or Algorand, which have broken nice peaks from around 20,000, some of them are not performing spectacularly right now, but they're also not at rock bottom. In my opinion, they don't necessarily have to drop significantly. Keep in mind that money flow can come into these altcoins, and they really have those lows set firmly. Of course, further declines can be expected. However, if someone believes in alt season, then they know when and what prices they can take advantage of. I personally think that alt season has already happened because of the wallet on some coins. The ones I bought had even 7, 8, 9x returns, and I actually realized some of those profits. Not completely, but I rolled over my capital to protect myself against potential declines, just in case. Now, I'll be honest with you, an incredibly large amount of capital would need to flow into the altcoin market. And it would have to be specifically selected altcoins for us to see increases in the top, let's say, 150 coins at levels of 5 to 10x. That's a lot of money. The market is so diluted that we might not see such increases anymore, so it's not that I'm trying to scare you, but my job is to convey this to you. Information that may help you in making a potential decision. If someone wants to wait for 30x, please go ahead, no problem. Maybe such a situation will happen and maybe it will be like this. And then they'll make a lot more money. Of course, I'm someone who looks at this market from the perspective of safe investing and safe earning, so I don't want to wait for huge returns. I don't want to be greedy because I prefer to take small, steady gains, but safely. So, keep in mind that we might not see a real hardcore alt season like we did in the previous cycle. We might not see 20, 30, or even 50x returns on the main altcoins anymore. It's not said that we won't get it, but you definitely need to secure yourself for that and collect profits. Besides, if we take a look at the Ethereum chart, it's also just lying there and doing nothing, as I used to say. Unfortunately, it looks weak. Personally, I took a swing on Ethereum around $2,200. At this point, I will be wondering what to do next because Ethereum is not looking great here, and that's the worst. The money flowing out of Bitcoin is not really going into Ethereum. If anything, I would say a bit more into those altcoins. So, the words of Trump's son telling us to buy Ethereum and then we'll thank him later. We'll see how they age. I hope it will go up because a lot of people are invested in Ethereum. And I would like each of you to make as much money as possible on this host, because that's obvious. However, remember, on this asset, I also think that if we get any breakouts above 3,500 or above 3,500, I'm not saying you should sell everything, but take some profits to secure yourself. And sometimes adjust your stop losses, set your stop losses at the spot, so to speak, around your entry point. So, my dear, be careful, because the market is very interesting right now, so I really think you should take some profits along the way. Take those partial profits, secure yourself against potential drops, because everyone was shouting that we would never drop below 100,000 when we were above 100,000, and look what happened. So, for me, it's a very strong indication of sentiment. Also in the comments, I wouldn't want people who are new to this market to lose out. Unfortunately, these are often people who are too overconfident due to their lack of knowledge about the market. And then they obviously think that everything will just keep going up. It was rising. That's not happening. So please secure your positions. And now listen, let's move on to the most important market news. And let's start with Tornado Cash. Alexei Persev, the developer of the Tornado Cash protocol, was sentenced in 2024. For money laundering, he was released from prison on Friday and began preparations for an appeal. A 31-year-old Russian citizen was sentenced to 64 months in prison last May in the Netherlands. The prosecutor accused him of a habit of money laundering, which is an interesting statement, and a lack of response to suspicious transactions carried out through platforms. Tornado Cash. It was a protocol that allowed users anonymous cryptocurrency transfers. They shut him down because there was no control over it. The actions were based on mixing funds and shuffling them, which really made it difficult to trace their origin. So now we know where the name Tornado Cash came from. The protocol has also come under sanctions from the United States, which accuses it of supporting the North Korean hacking group, the Lazarus Group. And this is another person released from prison this year. In January, Donald Trump pardoned the abusive Rosa Albrecht, creator of Silk Rosa, who received 2 life sentences and 40 years in prison for running an illegal platform. So I think a person who received 2 life sentences and 40 years and suddenly got pardoned is probably going to change their approach to life. Although we'll see. My dear friends, MicroStrategy. From now on, we are no longer talking about MicroStrategy, but about strategy. Because Saylor's company officially changed its name last week, removing MicroStrategy. It's no wonder actually, considering that in terms of size, this company, it's actually stopped being micro and is starting to become bigger and bigger. The new brand is meant to better reflect its pro-Bitcoin approach and commitment to cryptocurrencies. And of course, besides the name of the company, they added the Bitcoin symbol to their logo, which is quite an interesting move, highlighting their priority investments, which are actually the majority, if not all, in strategy. Interestingly, it was announced that in the 4th quarter of 2024, BlackRock, he doubled his stake in MicroStrategy and now owns over 5%. Rumors say that BlackRock may seek to indirectly use shares of Saylor's companies to increase its own exposure to Bitcoin, which, my dears, is total idiocy, because buying shares means idiocy, a rather interesting action, because by buying MicroStrategy shares, they are, of course, indirectly buying Bitcoin, but several times more expensive than it is worth because the company, Saylor's company, is valued at much higher amounts than it should be in relation to the Bitcoin holdings it has. And there is also a small conspiracy theory that BlackRock is buying shares of Strategy in order to dump them and force Saylor to sell his Bitcoins, to buy them back and thus become the largest holder of them in the market. So here, BlackRock wants to be the largest holder of Bitcoin, and I have no doubts about that. And that's all from me, my dear friends. So if you liked the episode, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell, because about 50% of you aren't subscribed to the channel, and it would be great if that changed, as it would help me increase my reach on this platform. So thank you in advance for your time spent watching this content, and I'll see you soon. So take care, bye for now, see you later. So I would like to thank you very much in advance for this. Thanks for taking the time to watch this material, and we'll see each other soon. So take care, bye for now, see you later.